Hey guys, Brendan Boylan here with the Saints News Network on SI.com as we are here for day two of the NFL draft here in 2022. Your New Orleans Saints hold only one pick as of right now on day two. It's going to be pick 49 overall, the 17th pick of the second round. Well, what an exciting day it was for the New Orleans Saints yesterday. Lots of fans, lots of members of the Who Dat Nation, very excited for what the Saints were able to do in picking Chris Olave at 11, as they were able to make a trade with the Washington Commanders and retain the 19th overall pick. They used that on Northern Iowa offensive tackle Trevor Penning. And listen, guys, if you're loyal readers of what we do over at the Saints News Network, you know a lot of us were projecting Chris Olave to New Orleans, and it looks like the Saints were pretty high on him as well. If you tuned into the show yesterday with myself and Bob Rose, one thing that I said is when these teams structure their draft boards and they go into the war rooms on draft night, you have to treat that like scripture. Wherever guys are listed on their boards, they have to stick to that. And they have to know that all the research the scouts did, the meetings that the GMs took, and that front office did in the offseason, they have to stay true to what they saw and what they have down. And obviously, Olave was a guy that they felt might be a top 10 talent. When he got out of the top 10, the Saints knew it was a guy that they had to go get. So the Saints making that trade for Olave, and like I said, getting a really good, raw, strong offensive tackle in Trevor Penning, who had a really good Senior Bowl. Some of you guys have seen the clip of him just mauling a defensive end, trying to get him around him on a speed rush, throwing him into the ground, but accidentally throwing him in to the quarterback there at the Senior Bowl. I would rate it a grade A for the Saints in round number one. I mean, listen, I gave five guys on a list in my article the day prior to the draft, five guys that the Saints could draft. If they took two of those five, it would be a home run for me. And the first two guys on that list were the two guys that they took. I think the New Orleans Saints are going into a good direction here in the draft process. I know there's some concerns about what they gave up to move up those five spots from 16 to 11. Certainly, not having a third and a fourth hurts, but the loyal fans know Mickey Loomis is not shy into trading back into the draft. Even just a couple years ago, I believe it was the third to final pick of day two. The New Orleans Saints magically on the clock, and they traded all of day three to get back in the third round. They drafted Adam Troutman, the tight end out of Dayton. And the Saints did manage to get back in the seventh round and take Tommy Stevens and that whole fiasco on maybe Petty Payton, as they like to call him, trying to steal Tommy Stevens from the Carolina Panthers, who ends up going to the Carolina Panthers. But that's a whole different story for a different time. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the draft. Would love to potentially have some of you guys join me live here if you guys have are on your laptops or on your cell phones and want to just join in and show your face, get a little bit of screen time, and talk about the first round. So again, to recap, the New Orleans Saints using picks 11 and 19 in the first round. Trevor Penning at 19, the offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa, and Chris Olave, the receiver from Ohio State. Those are the two first round picks for the New Orleans Saints. And in terms of day two selections, as we have just started the second round of the NFL draft, the Saints hold just one pick. It's the 49th overall selection, the 17th selection of the day. So far, we've seen two players come off the board. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers selected Logan Hall, defensive end out of Houston. That was the first pick of the second round. And Christian Watson, the wide receiver from North Dakota State, he goes to Green Bay. So Green Bay's streak of consecutive drafts without taking a receiver in the first round continues. It's been 20 years, but they get their receiver at the top of the second round. Well, myself, Kyle T. Mosley, will be hanging out with you guys a little bit tonight. Hope to hear from John Hendricks. He has been at the facility, New Orleans Saints facility in Metairie. Hoping to have him on, just talk a little bit about what he was able to experience being there firsthand, yesterday and getting a chance to hear from Dennis Allen a little bit last night as well. Again, would love to be able to hear from some of you guys, drop some comments, love to answer some questions, love to have you guys on to potentially speak with me or John or Kyle. Rose not able to join us tonight. He had some other obligations that he had to attend to, so certainly missing Bob this evening, but it should be a great evening, another big day. As I said yesterday, these days are days that could potentially shape your franchise for the future. Obviously, the first round's much bigger than the second and third, but you guys kind of know how it goes. Those third, fourth, and fifth round picks can definitely end up being the difference maker for a franchise if they want to get to the Super Bowl. And there's nothing to sleep on when it comes to these second and third round picks. I mean, look how much success the Saints have found in those rounds in previous years. You look at Michael Thomas was a second round pick in 2016. Then you look at a guy like Alvin Kamara, who was a third round pick in 2017. So the Saints have definitely found some success in these rounds. Bob and I talked about it a little bit yesterday. Some positions to watch as some guys start coming off the board here. Definitely look out for defensive tackle, inside linebacker. I'd say safety and running back might be your sleepers, strictly because, look, I mean, the Saints have ran a two-back system, sometimes even a three-back system for as long as we can remember. Especially in the Sean Payton era. Now that that book is closed and it's the Dennis Allen era, I don't think that's going to change. And Mark Ingram, as much as the Who Dat Nation loves him, and I was certainly ecstatic to see Ingram rejoin the Saints, he's not getting any younger. He's going into his 11th NFL season, and I don't know if he's going to be able to shoulder the load of 6 to 8 games, depending on if Alvin Kamara faces suspension for the incident in Vegas during Pro Bowl weekend. I think the Saints definitely have to look towards running back. There are certainly some guys still available in free agency, but I would not be surprised to see the Saints go and look at some of these guys. I mentioned a guy by the name of James Cook. He was a part of that Thunder Lightning tandem, if you will, for the Georgia Bulldogs and their national championship run. He's a little bit more of the Lightning, but he could definitely fill a role of need for the Saints if Kamara were to miss time. Definitely look at a guy like that. When it comes to the linebackers, Bob was really harping on some of these guys yesterday, and I don't know. I think it's a quiet position of need because there's a big lack of depth there. We talked about yesterday. If they're able to bring back Quan Alexander, who's still a free agent, that changes some things. But I had mentioned Demario Davis, another guy who isn't getting any younger, as well as he's played, as great as he's been for the Saints, and as much as I think he's the most underrated linebacker in football. There's still some concerns in age there. You might want to go ahead and start drafting for the future. And I think two of the best, if not the two best, inside linebackers in this draft class are still available in Nakobe Dean out of Georgia and Christian Harris, the linebacker out of Alabama. So definitely have to see how the board falls for New Orleans here in the second round, and keep an eye out for those guys. Another pick is in the second round. Roger McCreary, defensive back out of Auburn. He's going to the Tennessee Titans, who traded away A.J. Brown yesterday. I think that was a big surprise for a lot of people. He is the newest member of the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, as I let people get in their seats, get their snacks as we go to day 2 of the draft, I'm going to take a quick break. We will be back again. Saints News Network 2022 NFL Draft Show. Myself, Kyle T. Mosley, John Hendricks going to be popping in and out. Would love to hear from you guys in the comments section. Would love to potentially have some screen time for some of you, bring you guys in and be able to have an open conversation about what the Saints did yesterday and what they're going to be doing today. So in the meantime, sit back, relax. We'll see you guys soon. We were just talking about running backs a moment ago, and I wanted to pop back in. Brees Hall out of Iowa State is now off the board. Hall going to the New York Jets. One guy that Bob was really high on, and actually is a cousin of one of my favorite running backs in NFL history, cousins with former San Francisco 49er Roger Craig, a guy that for I still have no idea how he's still not in the Hall of Fame, but Brees Hall off the board to the Jets. Let's see if got a comment. Joe Real. Joe says, I'm hoping the Saints trade pick 49 to Green Bay for pick 53. Oh, and your little projections there as well. Desmond Ritter and then Trey McBride. You know, tight end is a spot as well that has been really brutal for New Orleans. And I know this might be unpopular opinion, but I felt that Troutman was making some strides before his injury last season, but there is absolutely no depth at the tight end spot. There's no one there. And Troutman is still a work in progress and a guy that I still think could be really good, a big red zone threat for New Orleans moving forward. But they definitely do need to address the tight end position. So I'm not completely against that, Joe. Not at all. Houston selects Jalen Petrie, safety out of Baylor. So the Atlanta Falcons now on the clock. Saints fans, we all know that there's a big and not so friendly rivalry with the Atlanta Falcons. I questioned the first round selection for the Falcons taking Drake London at 8. How do you guys feel about that one? If you guys have any thoughts, I would love to hear them with the Falcons. One, not taking a quarterback. That was a little surprising to me. They could certainly take one here on day 2 because Malik Willis is still on the board. I could definitely see Willis going to Atlanta here. But to grab Drake London, who some people didn't even have as their top receiver in this draft, to see him be the first receiver off the board. How do you guys feel about that? And just trying to start a little chatter amongst the Saints and Falcons rivalry. Would love to hear what you guys think of that. And the pick is in for Atlanta. Well, Joe, you said you hope the Saints trade back in the second round. How did you feel about what they were able to do in round number 1? If you guys are just joining us, Saints News Network NFL Draft Day show, myself, Kyle T. Mosley, and John Hendricks will be popping in throughout the evening and certainly giving you the analysis when the Saints pick or if there's any trades with the Saints in the draft. Joe said was not crazy about the trade to move up. Do you think Olave would have been there at 16 or do you think it was just too much to give up? If you guys want to hop in the comments, would love to hear from you guys, chat with you guys. Like Bob and I said yesterday, and didn't really have as much of an opportunity as we hoped to do so. Would love to potentially even give you guys some screen time and sitting here and have some good conversation. Joe, a receiver's on the board who's way more athletic. I understand that. Personally, Olave was my guy from the jump. And like I said at the top of the broadcast is if the Saints had him as their top receiver and you see some guys start to go, you have to stay true to what your draft board says. And they saw 2 receivers get off the board and said, hey, we got to go make a move if this is our guy. That's easier for me to say considering Olave was my guy, but I definitely understood those concerns too. I'm assuming you're talking about Jameson Williams, because there was some talk internally amongst us as the writers that Jameson Williams would have been a great pick for them too. If you go back and read my article from the other night, I think Jameson Williams was my third guy. Listed five guys I'd like the Saints to take with those two picks. I think Williams was third, um, behind the two picks that the Saints actually made. What will the Atlanta Falcons do? And for everybody keeping up with the NFC South as well, the Bucks had the top pick of round two. They take Logan Hall, defensive end out of Houston. The Panthers do not have a pick here in the second round. That was a part of the trade that sent Sam Darnold their way last season. So again, the Bucks have already made their selection for round two. The Falcons pick is in. We're waiting to hear it. The Falcons have another pick at 58 overall, 26th in the second round, and of course, your Saints having pick 49, which is 17th today. Also, keep in mind this: Cameron Jordan will be announcing the Saints pick today. Um, he is scheduled to do so for pick number 49. And the Atlanta Falcons take a defensive end from Penn State. So Malik Willis still on the board. Could the Seahawks look at Willis with those back to back picks at 40 and 41? That may be a strong possibility. I'm going to hop off yet again. We're going to be in and out throughout the evening. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. You're watching the Saints News Network 2022 NFL Draft Show. So the Seattle Seahawks have back-to-back picks in round two, and neither are a quarterback. The latest is Kenneth Walker, the third running back out of Michigan State. So currently on pick 42, New Orleans Saints have pick 49 of this evening. And for now, it's the only pick they're going to have here on day two. I wouldn't be surprised if there's somebody who continues to fall if they trade back in. Uh, but this brings up an interesting conversation, and Bob and I had some of it yesterday, was if a quarterback continues to fall, do the New Orleans Saints pull the trigger? Now, I completely agree with what we talked about yesterday in saying that the fact that New Orleans didn't trade up and get a quarterback or didn't even take a quarterback at 19 when they could have had Pickett or Willis shows how much confidence the Saints have in Jameis Winston. But if Willis ends up to fall and is at pick 49 when New Orleans is on the clock, is it outrageous to think that New Orleans would take a quarterback? No. And part of that is the way that contracts are structured and the fact that you got that fifth-year option on guys now. Well, maybe not a second-round pick, but you're going to be able to save money if Willis ends up being your quarterback of the future. Now, I've gone on record saying how much I believe Jameis Winston is just a perfect fit for what New Orleans wants to do moving forward. But I could see the Saints going and getting a quarterback, especially if Willis continues to fall. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the situation. And another thing to look at is, and knock on wood, and maybe I jinx it, maybe I don't, but right now there's still a lot of talent at the linebacker position available here in round two. I mentioned the two guys in the SEC that were still available a little bit earlier, and those guys being Nakobe Dean, the linebacker out of Georgia, and Christian Harris, the linebacker out of Alabama. Both those guys still available on the boards right now. I could see New Orleans going that direction. You also look at a position like safety. I think you'd be reaching for somebody at this point at the safety spot. Defensive tackle, an area of need. I really like Travis Jones at a UConn. He's going to be right there in that position as well. So there's a couple different ways the New Orleans Saints could go, and I know one of the viewers a little bit earlier, Joe, said that Trey McBride would be his pick, the tight end out of Colorado State. I could certainly see the Saints go in that direction as well. So right now, the board is falling in the Saints' favor to be able to really go in any direction that they want. You have Indianapolis, New York, Cleveland, Baltimore, Detroit, Washington, and Chicago before the New Orleans Saints pick, and we'll see where they go. Like I said, I just mentioned a couple different directions they could go. They can go linebacker. That's a strong spot. Like I said, safety is probably going to be a little bit of a reach for anybody at 49. At least that's available at this point. So I could see linebacker, defensive tackle, tight end, and you can't rule out the quarterback position as well. Again, love to hear from you guys, hear what your guys' thoughts would be on what the Saints should do at 49 and how the draft board is falling for the Saints. And if you guys haven't had a second, go ahead and check in the comments. Our very own John Hendricks was on WDSU right at the start of the second round to discuss what he thinks the Saints could do in round number two. All love John. He's at the Saints facility currently, uh, repping and covering the Saints for the Saints News Network from there, and he gave some great insights. So if you guys want to head over, the Twitter link is in the comments. Go ahead and check that out and listen to what John had to say. His thoughts would be in round number two. We'll be back here in a couple minutes. Just a handful of picks away from the New Orleans Saints second round selection. I see a comment. Running back is where you'd like the Saints to go in round number two. Curious to hear your opinion. Which running back you would like to see the Saints select at this point, as you've seen a couple go off the board here in round two. Andrew Booth Jr. from Clemson now off the board. Wandale Robinson, receiver out of Kentucky, off the board. So the Cleveland Browns are now on the clock, 5 picks. So the New Orleans Saints second round selection at pick 49. And the board is continuing to fall the same way it was the last time that I jumped in. The Saints could go in a lot of different directions. Linebacker, if you want to go get a guy in Dean out of Georgia, he's still on the board. Malik Willis, the quarterback, still on the board. Trey McBride, the tight end, still on the board. There's a lot of ways the New Orleans Saints could go here. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see them go just about anyway. The other one is defensive tackle Travis Jones out of UConn is still available. There's a lot of guys here that the New Orleans Saints could certainly use on their side. Also, I wouldn't rule out wide receiver either. Just with how poor they were a season ago at wideout, I would not be surprised to see them go get another. Love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on what the Saints should do. And also your thoughts and opinions on what New Orleans was able to do last night. In my opinion, it was a home run. I had written about how if they went and got Olave and one of those top 4 tackles, that I certainly felt like it would be a win. But there's been grades from local to national reporters that have been a little bit all over the place for the New Orleans Saints. So, Who Dat Nation, I'd love to hear from you guys and what you guys think about what New Orleans was able to do yesterday. And if for you guys, if it's a win, if it's a loss, if you had to grade it, what would the grade be? Like I said, mine would certainly be an A. I think New Orleans addressed 2 immediate areas of need, and those guys could be day one starters. So here in round 2, can the Saints continue the same theme? Or are they looking to add depth down the road? We will see, as there were only 5 picks away from pick 49. And we have a trade. The Houston Texans trade to 44, trade with the Cleveland Browns. See what they're up to. You know, a lot of people in Houston are really high on Davis Mills, but I could certainly see them go get a quarterback since these guys are falling. Houston could also use a guy like Bernard Rainman from Central Michigan, offensive tackle. Could certainly be a good fit for Houston here as well. Well, as we are now 5 picks away from the New Orleans Saints, we're going to step away just for a moment. You're watching the Saints News Network 2022 NFL Draft live stream. All right, guys, two picks until the New Orleans Saints at pick 49. A lot of options still there for New Orleans. Let's get you caught up on what's been happening. Josh Paschal, Kentucky defensive end, goes to the Lions. Saw a couple receivers go off the board in Robinson and Mechie the third. And Washington now on the clock at 47, followed by Chicago at 48 and the New Orleans at 49. So I pose the question again to you guys is who do you want the New Orleans Saints to take here at pick 49? If the prospect remains on the board, hypothetically, we still got two more picks to go, so we'll see. But who do you want to see New Orleans take, or what position would you like to see New Orleans take at this point? I think the big one to watch, and I've certainly been watching, I brought him up a couple times here on the broadcast, Nakobe Dean, the 5'11, 230-pound inside linebacker out of the University of Georgia. A lot of people had a first-round grade on him. If he falls to New Orleans halfway through the second round, um, I think that would be a steal of a pick, but there's also a reason that he's slipping, right? Everybody knows how good this guy is. Everybody knows how stellar the Georgia Bulldogs were defensively a season ago. And that's what won them a national championship. But I would not be shocked to see Nakobe Dean go to New Orleans if he's still on the board. And of course, the quarterbacks keep slipping, whether you're looking at Willis, whether you're looking at Ritter, whether you're looking at uh, Sam Howell. All those guys have slipped down the board, so you could look towards that as well. Remember, this is the only pick as of right now for the New Orleans Saints um, here on day two. Wouldn't be surprised to see Mickey Loomis and company trade back in, but they're running out of ammo. They spent a lot of ammo to get two first-round picks, and then, of course, trading up again in the first round to go get Chris Olave. So New Orleans is running out of ammo to trade up if they wanted to. So you might as well get your guy or get your best fit type of guy. Here, I think there's a couple positions of need. You know, Bob and I both harped on defensive tackle a little bit yesterday. I don't think quarterback's a position of need. Even John Hendricks said that with his interview with WDSU earlier today. I think if there's a position that New Orleans immediately needs to address, I would say it's going to be linebacker or safety. But I wouldn't, or at least personally, I think it would be a little bit of a stretch to grab any safety off the board right now. I think you're in a really good position if Nakobe Dean's there. And it might be a little bit of a stretch to go and get Harris, the linebacker out of Alabama. But I wouldn't be upset if they went and got a guy like Christian Harris either. Obviously, both SEC guys, both have played in big games, both have played for phenomenal coaches and phenomenal programs. So I could definitely see New Orleans go that direction if they want to. What do you guys think? Two picks away. And the Commanders are going to be taking Alabama defensive lineman. Uh, Mathis is going to go 47. Alabama defensive lineman Mathis going at 47. So we are going to be a pick away. The New Orleans Saints a pick away. Chicago has pick 49 or 48 rather, of the draft. New Orleans sitting at 49. As the board is playing out, who are your guys' favorites for the New Orleans Saints to select? Want to hear from you guys. And again, if you guys are happy with what New Orleans was able to do in the first round. How do you guys feel about a guy in Jaquan Brisker, safety out of Penn State? I see that's a name popping up on Saints Twitter. Obviously, what I was saying earlier at linebacker in Kobe Dean is popping up on Saints Twitter. Uh, who do you guys want? We're so close, 2 picks away. All right, guys, we're almost there. The Bears pick is in, and following that, it'll be the New Orleans Saints selecting in the second round, 49th overall, 17th selection of the second round. Who are the Bears going to select? And like I said before, there's a lot of guys, lots of guys that the New Orleans Saints could go. The Bears will select Jaquan Brisker, a guy that I had just brought up moments ago. So the Saints are now on the clock. Where are they going to go? Is it going to be Nakobe Dean, the inside linebacker out of Georgia? Is it going to be quarterback Malik Willis? Is it going to be Trey McBride, the tight end out of Colorado State? Lots of options for the New Orleans Saints. They're officially on the clock. What do you guys think? What will the New Orleans Saints do? How's everybody feeling? Is there someone on the board that is just such a standout that the Saints, in your opinion, can't pass on the guy? What will the team do? Remember, this is for now the only pick of day 2 for New Orleans. The Saints are still on the clock. The pick is not quite in. What do you guys think will happen? Crucial pick for the Saints here. No third round pick, no fourth round pick. Those were bundled up for the Saints to move up to take Chris Olave in the first round yesterday. So, again, this is the only day two pick for the Saints as of right now. We've seen quarterbacks slip, we've seen linebackers slip. Um, the one safety that I felt the Saints could be linked to, and it wouldn't be too much of a reach, gets taken just the pick before. Who's it? Seen a lot of people on Saints Twitter upset that Brisker was taken by the Bears. Felt like that may have been a good fit. New Orleans definitely needing a safety. You know, you lose Marcus Williams. Yes, you get Marcus May, who might have been one of the easiest and best replacements you could have got. But you lose Malcolm Jenkins to retirement. Gardner Johnson's really going to be playing as a slot guy. You do bring PJ Williams back, but still a hole there at safety for the Saints. Saints are taking their time here, using most of the clock, and I wouldn't be surprised if they potentially even trade back here, try to get some of those picks back that they lost yesterday. What do we think, guys? Saints on the clock. Oh, the pick is in. The Saints will not be trading that pick, as I was speculating. And it appears the New Orleans Saints have made their selection. The New Orleans Saints, with the 49th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, will take Alontae Taylor, cornerback from Tennessee. Little surprised to see that, as the Saints have been very good at cornerback and had outstanding play from Paulson Adebo a season ago. But there is a lack of depth there, and if that is the best available player they saw on the board, that's the way to go. But a guy who didn't have a great grade, lots of guys at that position graded higher than Taylor. But Taylor, a 6 foot, 200-pound corner out of Tennessee. Former wide receiver, defensive back. Alontae Taylor is the Saints' second round selection. What do you guys think? Want to hear from you. I can say I'm a little surprised by the pick, which means I'm sure you guys are also surprised by the pick. So there you go. There are your updated picks for the day. Pick 49 for the Saints, Alontae Taylor out of Tennessee. Would you be surprised to see a guy like Alontae Taylor move and be a safety because of his size? I could definitely see the Saints doing something like that. You look what they've been able to do over the years in converting corners to safety. I brought up PJ Williams a moment ago. That's a prime example. You look at a guy like Malcolm Jenkins who did that back in his first stint with New Orleans as well. That may be the direction the Saints are going. Again, here's your updated New Orleans Saints draft picks here in the 2022 draft. The 11th pick, Chris Olave, pick 19, Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa, and then pick 49, again, cornerback Alontae Taylor. That is the New Orleans Saint, newest member of the New Orleans Saints. Again, how do you guys feel about the pick? Would love to hear your guys' reactions to this one. One that I would say a lot of people didn't see coming, especially with some of the players still on the board. One thing about Alontae Taylor is his 40-yard dash of 4.36. Could definitely play safety, and I believe that's what the New Orleans Saints are looking doing with their latest draft pick. Again, want to hear from you guys. How do you feel about the New Orleans Saints taking Taylor in the second round? Had a high RAS score of 9.06. And that's been something the New Orleans Saints have done for a long time, is drafting guys with relative athletic scores that rate pretty high. So again, want to hear your guys' thoughts. Alontae Taylor out of Tennessee, the defensive back, corner in college. I would project him to be playing safety for the New Orleans Saints. He is the newest member of the New Orleans Saints. He's picked 49th overall. And for now, that is the only pick in day two for the New Orleans Saints. You guys drop some comments, and we'll be back with more reaction and more coverage here of the 2022 NFL Draft. So the New Orleans Saints used their only day two pick to select Alontae Taylor, defensive back out of Tennessee. He plays cornerback, but fully expect with his size and aggressiveness to move over to safety. The Saints only have two more picks remaining here in the 2022 NFL draft. That at 161, that's a fifth round pick, and then 194, that's a sixth round pick. So the Saints are going to be off the clock for quite a while unless they trade back into the third round, which they've done before. But the New Orleans Saints take Taylor with pick 49. So there you go. You can see it right on your screen. The Saints had three selections in the top 50 in this draft. They go Chris Olave, the receiver out of Ohio State. Then they go offensive tackle with Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa. And then finally, the 49th pick in Alontae Taylor, the defensive back out of Tennessee. Well, guys, for now, we're gonna hop off for a little bit. Hope to come back as a team and give you guys some analysis of our thoughts of the three picks by the Saints to this point. Thank you guys for tuning in, and stay tuned for more of the 2022 NFL Draft Show here with the Saints News Network.